would slap him silly. You insolent son. And after slapping him across the face, he would then take him out and flog him publicly in the same way that that uncle took a chair to kill the girl. Why? Because he had brought such dishonor on that father. The father must protect his honor at all costs. But the shameful request leads to a shameful response. And if the request was shameful, the father's response was even more shameful. Verse 12, and he divided his wealth between them. What? This is where the Pharisees would say, whoa, whoa. No father would do that. You don't give in to that kind of shameful attitude. You don't give in to someone that's that insolent. But he did. He divided his wealth among them. They didn't have to wait till he was dead. He split it up, gave 2/3 to the older son, 1/3 to the younger. This is a father abandoning his own honor. This is a father taking on shame. It's ridiculous. This is a very, very dishonorable son, but this is a more dishonorable father. This is a weak-willed father in the minds of the Pharisees. This is a father who is not protecting what must be protected. This is a silly kind of superficial love in their eyes. And by the way, where's the older brother here? He is purposely not in the story. Jesus doesn't put him in the story here, but he should be in the story, and that's another eye roller here, because the older brother had a responsibility to protect his younger brother from stupid things, and he knew about the division because he got his 2/3. Why didn't he stop this kind of insolent behavior by the younger brother? And why didn't he, of all things, do what the older son was committed to doing, protect the honor of his father? It's just absurd. The whole thing is absurd. The younger son behaves in an absurd way, the father in an absurd way, and the older brother in an absurd way. It's all shameful. And it gets worse. We then come to a shameful rebellion. Verse 13, not many days later. Why don't we stop there for a minute? Not many days later? The younger son gathered everything together. How do you liquidate 1/3 of an estate that's accumulated for who knows how long in a family? How do you liquidate an entire estate in a few days? You're talking about land and animals, all that goes with it, a whole agrarian estate. How do you do that in a few days? I'll tell you how you do it. You sell cheap, right? You discount. And of course, somebody buying it is buying a future because they're not going to get it until the father's dead. He sells it cheap. He discounts, devalues this estate to turn it into cash. Cheap, fast sale at a high discount. And he takes his money and he went on a journey into a distant country, left the land of Israel for a Gentile land. That's what a distant country was. And Jews didn't go into distant countries and come back again without shaking the dust off their feet, so they didn't bring any defiled Gentile dirt back into Israel. That was Pharisaic religion. It gets worse. He did go into a distant country, a Gentile country, a pagan country, an idolatrous country, and there he squandered his estate with loose living. Squandered means scattered or basically threw away. That's why he's called the prodigal. The word means wasteful. He took his entire future, liquidated it at a discount, and then threw it away. It had taken generations to accumulate, and he wasted it fast. Loose living, what does that mean? Dissipated, debauched behavior. And the older brother in verse 25 says he spent it on prostitutes. This is one stupid guy, right? One stupid guy. But up to now, it's all in his control. Insolent, rebellious against his father. Discounting the value of the wealth that his father had for him. Winding up in a pagan, idolatrous, blasphemous environment. Throws it all away on sexual immorality. What a fool. In fact, of all the sinners that Jesus ever portrayed in his parables, this guy's the most extreme. Everything up to now under his control, but life's not always under your control, and something happens that wasn't under his control. Jesus introduces in verse 14, when he had spent everything. Perfect timing. He's got nothing left. A severe famine occurred in that country. Oh, gasp. This is the worst possible scenario. The worst possible sinner in the worst possible scenario. He's got nothing left, and there's a famine. We don't understand famine, but in ancient days, famine is basically when you eat garbage, and when there's no more garbage to eat, you eat your sandals, and when there are no more sandals to eat, you eat your animals that you can catch, and when there are no more animals that you can catch, you eat people. Like the famines described in the Old Testament where they were eating afterbirth and children. This is life at the bottom. Absolutely at the bottom. It gets worse. Verse 15, he went and attached himself. Klao in the Greek means to glue. Stuck himself.